Hi everyone, I'm Meg with Truvy and welcome back to our YouTube channel where we provide you with free English tips almost every day. Today I'm excited about the topic that we're going to be working on. If you saw the title, it is the word because. Because is an extremely used word in the English language. The word because is a conjunction that is used to introduce reason or meaning to the phrase that you are speaking about. So imagine that in front of you, you see a sentence with the word because. Let's act like there's three parts of it. This makes it easier to understand. There is the beginning part, there's the word because, and then there's the end part. The main clause is the beginning part. And then the second part is the because, and then the third part, which is the reason, is reliant on the main part, meaning that without the main part, the end part of because does not mean anything. You can't write a sentence without the main clause. So we have the main clause, and then the reason is always dependent on the main clause because they're related. That's why it's in the same sentence. The main clause can be situated at any point in the sentence. I know I made it sound like it has to be at the beginning. It typically is because that's the main thing, but it also can come after. I'll show you a few different ways the word because can be used and where these clauses are located. Let's start with the main clause, plus because plus reason. This is the most common that you'll see. I like to run because it's fun. Very normal use. Now let's do the because clause first and then the main clause. This is less used in formal writing and more commonly used in daily conversation, as in texting and calling. Nothing formal. Here's an example. Because I went to the store, I got some milk. Or because I was sad, I started crying. This is not something that you should be using in a formal paper or for an email to a colleague. And it's okay to start a sentence with because in these areas for one reason. It's followed by an actual explanation. It cannot just be because I'm happy. Another way that you can use because without the main clause is in regards to a conversation, like I was saying informal. Let me show you one. I went to school and I came home. My mom said to me, "Did you have a good day at school, Meg?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Why was it a good day?" And I say, "Because my best friend and I got to play outside." That's a great because reasoning. It's informal, it's with your mother, which is not normally a formal conversation, so you're allowed to not restate the question when you're saying it. Okay, now let's go over some of my favorite tips to make using the word because even easier for you in everyday life. Ready? Let's go. The first one is to help you make your conversation more interesting. When you're using because, you're able to explain more about what you're doing. Maybe someone asks you, "What's your favorite meal?" And you just say, "Spaghetti." And there's no explanation for it. There's no reason why. They're just kind of standing there and they're like, "Okay." Maybe they say, "I like spaghetti too," and then they have to keep asking you questions. Instead, just explain a little bit more. "I love spaghetti because I love pasta. One time I went to Italy and I had the best spaghetti of my life." That is a great way to use the word because when explaining something. It adds more detail, it adds more oomph to your conversation. Tip number 2. You should use a comma after the because clause if it comes before the main clause. For example, because I went to the store, I now have milk. Or because I went on a run, I feel so healthy. Those are two examples of when you should insert the comma after the first part of the sentence. Remember how we broke them down into 3 areas? This is a 2-part because the word because starts at the beginning of the sentence. So there's the because clause and the main clause. Between the two, put a comma. Tip number 3. When asked a question, you should always restate it in a formal manner. Let me tell you a scenario. I'm in my boss's office. We're having a meeting, and he asked me, "Why did you send them an email that was a little bit rude?" I wouldn't say, because they were being mean. I would say, I sent them an email that was a little bit dicey because I was a little bit upset with what they had said to me prior. That's an example. We want to restate the question in formal writing and in professional and formal settings. This is essential to sound professional. That's my cat, Peter. Oh, he's so funny. Everyone, that's my cat. Okay, so now we're going to move on to a practice round. I'm going to read off some sentences to you. The word because will not be in this sentence. I want you to listen and figure out between what two words is the word because going to be put in. Ready? Let's go. I ate a big meal. I was so hungry. I ate a big meal. I was so hungry. All right, that's number one. Think about it, and where does the word because go in that sentence? I'm gonna move on to number two now. I love him a lot. He is so smart. I love him a lot. He is so smart. Think about where the word because goes, and now let's go over it. I ate a big meal because I was so hungry. The main clause and the reason. Because goes right in the middle. Next one. I love him a lot because he is so smart. Because in the middle. The main clause and the reasoning, and then because. I did not do any that have because that start at the beginning. Well, because it's not necessarily formal. We typically only do that in conversation specific or in formal writing like texts or maybe emails with friends, but nothing really formal. The homework for today is to write two sentences in the comments. One using because as the middle of the sentence, so the main clause and then the because clause, and one using because at the beginning. Don't forget the tip that I said about using the comma when the because is at the beginning of a sentence. This is essential, and I will be personally reviewing and reading over your responses and giving you easy advice so you can make your English even better. These are just some easy steps that you can take to make sure your English is more like American English. I'm teaching you the way that I learned English growing up. I'm born and raised here near Boston, Massachusetts in the United States of America, and I want to share my English with you. As always, please subscribe if you have not. I would love it, and I love how you're learning English with us. In addition to this, please follow us on Instagram, Threads, and Facebook. Thank you guys for watching today. I hope you had a great time, and I hope you have a wonderful day. See you in the next video. Bye!